Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Monday, April 27th. Wow, it's April 27th. Committee of the Whole. I would like to start by acknowledging that we are gathering and governing on the unceded traditional territory of what is now known as the Comox Nation. And we are always grateful for their care and stewardship of this land since time immemorial, and the good relationships they foster with us and us with them. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move the agenda.
Second.
Seconder, all in favor? Oh, apologies. Councillor Barecki is unable to be here today. He's on a boat somewhere, hopefully safe. First up is our delegations. Comox Strathcona Waste Management Draft Solid Waste Plan. Come on up, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Do I need to push? Aggressively?
Yeah, when the red light's on, it's on. Yeah.
Tricked me. Oh, I pushed it too
okay.
many times now. Okay. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much for having me today. For anyone who doesn't know, my name is Sarah Willie. I'm with Comox Strathcona Waste Management, working in the planning and policy realm, and have been working on this solid waste management plan update for the last few years. So this is, I think, our third time coming to present to council. Thank you for making the time to stay engaged on this project. So as you know, we're looking to reduce the amount of waste that we generate and manage here in the Comox Valley Regional District and the Strathcona Regional District. So we're a combined service. We're around 551 kilograms a person, targeting 350. And so this is that high level, long-term picture of how to manage that waste appropriately. Last fall, we came and spoke to you about our strategies and actions. So we had 33 actions under 8 strategies, and that consultation went really well. We had great participation from the community. That resulted in 19 different events across the service area, with over 1,200 people participating in September, October. We also had an online survey where we were having people respond to their level of support for each of those actions, and paper surveys were made available as well.
Sorry, Sarah, to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Can somebody turn the lights down a bit so we can see a bit
Yeah,
better?
a little
Thank
higher
you.
contrast.
Okay, now carry on. Thanks.
Mood lighting.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's much easier to read. Thank you. So here in Cumberland, we came and competed with a wedding that was happening at Riders, I think. There were more people at the wedding than there were at our event, but we did try. We probably should have got pizza, but they were closed. So, and I did ask, but we're not allowed to hold events at places that serve alcohol, so the Waverly was also off the table. So it is hard to kind of have those moment in time where you try and draw people in, but we did hold a successful event at the landfill where we engaged with folks at the bin wall and in the lineup and at the recycling area and talked to them about this initiative. So major themes from those conversations were really around expanding collection and drop-off opportunities, improved communication, and fairness and consistency, and that's been throughout this entire process and does align with the strategies and actions that we have. At a high level, a couple of the things that popped up to the top, the cream of the 33, 2 of these were around our multifamily. And so, just keeping in mind that 85% of the folks that responded to the survey were from single family homes. This is something that's important to them as well as to the multifamily people that we met in person that asked for these services. So looking at additional space for recycling and organics in new developments, and that aligns with one of our targets that I'll speak to. And then number 13 was around organics collection for multifamily buildings. And in the middle there is just really continued advocacy for more recycling programs, expanding and accepting more products, which we align with as well. We had a really good completion rate for the survey, which was great. It was a bit long, and folks carried through. So those that started it finished it, and that really helps to be able to compare apples to apples. All those actions were brought forward to the board with the results, and they did in turn support inclusion of all of those within our draft plan. And that's where we are now. So you're up to speed. We are just speaking with the municipalities. Our 3-week consultation period for the draft plan just completed on Friday. So you can go to the engagement page to view that draft plan, as well as a 2-page backgrounder. We also have a YouTube video introducing this step that we're in here, step 4, which is preparing and adopting the plan. So we've got pretty good numbers of engagement. A lot of folks downloading the document and taking a look at our webpage. Some good Q&As up there as well. So we will be reporting back to the board coming up on the entire engagement process, though. So highlighting a few things that are new content as part of this step is targets. So how we're going to hold ourselves accountable to executing the plan and what we hope to achieve through the execution. Also an implementation schedule. So as much as I want to do everything all at once, we just can't do that. Don't have the capacity. We can't hire 10 people all at once for just a couple years and then let them all go. So just tapering out the work to try and bring in resources and support the use of those resources throughout the 10 years. And then a committee structure. So there is a plan monitoring advisory committee that I'll speak to. Ooh, if you thought it was hard to read before, please refer to your agenda. So the targets here, we've got, I won't go through each of them, but we've got targets associated with each of our goals. So our goals and guiding principles were our foundation that we started with back in 2023. And those were developed in concert with our advisory committee that you saw previously in that photo there. So we really want to make sure that these are clear, they have measurable results, and that will show continuous improvement. So increasing Repair Cafe participation, sounds like Saturday was a great success. Ingrid, my communications colleague here, was supporting Lindsay Eason in that work, and they had great turnout, lots of good clothes for the swap if you ever come again, and sounds like some really good success with the Repair Cafe. Our second goal is around landfill closures and looking to continue our improvements in environmental protection by directing all the waste to the regional landfill, where it will have leachate management and landfill gas capture and controls. Our goal 3 is around greenhouse gas emissions, and so looking again at targeting organics expansion. So 80% of the population covered by disposal restrictions, and looking at the gas beneficial use, as well as expansion into multifamily. Goal 4 and the associated targets are really around just reducing the amount of residual waste in general. So a couple of targets there where we looked at separate targets for communities with 3-stream that are already doing very well, but we want to be able to measure those distinctly. We've got the best data really available for that stream. And then looking at our overall, excluding the construction waste, because we did find that kind of goes up and down, depending on the economic metrics. And then it's also influenced more by the private sector. So there's a private landfill that collects construction waste. There's more ability for it to flow in and out of region. So in order to kind of measure a lot against our efforts, just looking at how that number moves, so targeting 400 kilograms per person, excluding that construction rate, and then again our long-term target of 350. And then we've got some targets there around measuring informed residents, and that was kind of a trickier one to do. So we looked at in-person member engagements with our educator. Also year over year increases in the mobile app users. So we share an app with the Village of Cumberland for the Royston service, and then we also utilize that as our broad Comox Strathcona waste management, what goes where. So in addition to the curbside component where it lets people know when to pick up, there's sort of a query function that anyone can download and utilize to understand where to take things. So we'd like to see more uptake on that. And then this last one, maintaining a 3% contamination rate. The goal is not to maintain contamination. That's wording that I've since realized needs some tweaking. So it is to stay below 3% contamination rate within organics. And so, again, measuring how much effort and impact that we're making in terms of educating people about keeping that out of that stream. And then, of course, we want to fund these services in a fiscally responsible way. In terms of continued participation, we had great participation from Rob Crisfield in his previous role, as well now through his replacement, Dave. And we'll be asking more of the staff going forward. So once the plan is submitted to the province, and if and when receives approval, we'll establish this plan monitoring advisory committee. And we're going to structure it a little bit differently than the development process, just trying to keep it as a slightly tighter group, still including, of course, representatives from across the different sectors. But we expect there to be less effort there. 1 or 2 meetings a year. We had 6 or 8 sometimes during this last few years. Look for some continuity of people who helped to develop that plan to make sure they're holding us accountable and understand the intent behind some things. And then look for, this could be a 10, 15-year commitment. So we don't expect people to sign on to that. So really setting a term there. And we do for members of the public who are participating, or for members of technical committee that are not paid to be there by their employer, offering financial support to make sure that it's accessible to people to participate. So in terms of composition, 6 members of the public. So 1 member residing in either Courtenay, Comox, or the Village of Cumberland. The technical members up to 12. And so we'll be looking for 4 members of local government staff there, good representation from our different groups, but also really focusing on people who are involved with the industry through business. And then availability for First Nations. We have 10 First Nation communities that we support with services or their participation in our service. And then just the co-chairs will continue to be the co-chairs of the CSWM board. So it still, you can see, adds up to quite a few people, but we have tried to tighten it up a bit to make it an easier conversation, easier for people to participate, not easier for me. So next steps, what we're looking for here is really just awareness around where we're at in this process, feedback on that draft plan. We will be seeking a letter of endorsement from the village, and we'll be sending another letter requesting that out. So you can expect that subsequent to this presentation. As I mentioned, we just completed April 24th, our sort of public engagement period, and we'll be returning back to the board in June. So we'll be compiling all of the consultation, the First Nations consultation, the draft plan with any amendments, and then looking to submit before the end of the board term. So 6 to 18 months, we'll see how long it takes the province to review. It's definitely not a speedy process, but we've got a lot to do that we can do in the interim while we await establishment of this plan. And then the PMAC will be following approval, so a bit of a lull. Thank you very much. Take any questions.
Thank you. It is an excellent plan. We had it well in advance, so we actually could go through it. So thanks for the highlights again. And I'll turn it over to council for questions or comments.
Go ahead. Okay, sure. Well, firstly, thank you very much. As Mayor Brown said, it is an excellent plan. If we ever doubt the value of spending all this time, effort, and money on planning, I think I only need to remember the last plan was 2013, and I was here a few years before that, and what was definitely then the dump is a very, very different place as a result of that planning process. And so I'm hoping that this planning process produces another step forward over the next 10 years in what we do there. I'll definitely ask you a couple of things. It talks about the closure of Tassis, Zabalas, and Gold River. Does that mean that all waste from there will now be transported here?
Yeah, Gold River is already a transfer, so the landfill is open, but it's only receiving inert material. So it'll be the addition of village of Tassis and Zabalas. Combined, it's about less than 1,200 tons total. But that number is a bit rough because they don't have scales at those landfills, so it's based on a volumetric survey that we do every year. And some of that waste is already, if there's significant deconstruction or significant amounts of waste being generated, we're asking them to haul it directly here now already just to save airspace. But yeah, with the amount of rainfall that we receive on the West Coast, as well as just the size of them, it's just not economic for us to bring those up to today's standards.
No, I fully understand. The system, though, that we have developed here because of all of those things you're talking about is increasingly reliant on transportation. pretty much everything comes to Cumberland. You know, we'd love to have everybody's waste. And with diesel's gone up from 150 a litre to 250 a litre in the last few months, and things like that can keep happening. What's the I think you mentioned the universal transport model to divide costs up. So does that mean that are you able to sum that up in a very short sentence? And then what's the resilience to that piece to increasing fuel costs?
Yeah, fuel is definitely a component of our service for sure. I think bigger than the transportation piece of bringing the waste to us, just the fuel consumption on site through the compaction of the waste is another big piece. The compactor is a very large piece of equipment. We have dozers, loaders, excavators on site too. So certainly that will impact us as we approach budget season and look at what our true costs are for this year. And that will have to be reflected in tipping fees. So yeah, I think it's both. That transportation piece, as I say, is a bit lower. Like, I would expect us to be hauling out of Tassus and Zeballos, maybe once every 2 weeks at most, potentially once a month. It might be driven more by the odor and vector issues than the actual volume of the waste. And we do have equipment that operates in those landfills that won't be operating anymore. And so there'll be some cost savings there as well, and contracts that will change needs. So yeah, pros and cons that will be weighed.
Yeah, there's any feedback I have, it's that this plan doesn't, I didn't see anywhere in this plan any addressing of the resilience to fuel, to the exposure to fuel cost over the coming decade, which may be very significant. I do have other questions, but I suspect some of my colleagues may have similar, so if they're not covered, maybe I could come back later.
Yeah, can I just jump in the queue following the comment about how many tons that are being diverted from up island? How many trucks would you say that is? Like, is it a 1 ton truck? Are they 2 ton trucks? Like, how often is that traffic coming into the village?
That come in, so the Campbell River trucks that are transferring waste from the Campbell River Waste Management Center, for example, they weigh around 20 to 25 tons.
Oh.
The walking floors, so those are those large 53-foot tractor trailers that you might see turning at the Gas and Go.
Yeah.
So we may not utilize that type of equipment to come from Tassus and Zeballos. Just the roads themselves are very different condition. Yeah. So it might be more of what we have on Cortez and Hornby, which are what you see at the bin wall when you're at the landfill. So those 40-yard bins that you're putting things into as a resident, we utilize those at the transfer stations there. So they can haul 2 of those at a time, depending on the roads. And if they're too steep, they may just have to haul 1 at a time.
Right. Okay, thanks. Sorry. Next.
Thanks for that. I'm just curious, do you know of any facility-led pre-screening or diversion in Canada? And with the closure imminent, why is physical pre-screening or diversion options never discussed here, and at least for construction waste, like pre-screening, like before the...
Just want to make sure I understand the question. So pre-screening of loads that come in, like having them tip first and look through it,
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, one of our strategies, one of our actions within there is that's scheduled for kind of earlier on in our implementation is development of a pad essentially at the landfill, so that we could create a distinct rate for unsorted versus sorted loads, and have people do just that. If you want to pay the higher rate and have unsorted loads brought in, then we would fund the labor and equipment and have the space available to do some of that sorting on site. So that's one of the strategies. Does that answer?
Yeah, I just think if we're closing it for good, like the least garbage going in forever is the best way to go about it. Like I picture a building or something with construction waste being sorted through or something. We need to be really aggressive, and I just don't think this plan is aggressive in that way.
Yeah, is this at the remote sites that you're thinking, or here?
No, here.
Here, yeah. So it is that balance of cost and effort, and yeah, I appreciate. I'd love to do everything that we could as well, for sure. And seeing innovation within the private sector, I think, can support that. So I think the more that we enforce some of our material bans and surcharges, that can help to drive changes on site. So that's an avenue that we have. we've heard from the construction sector, or the hauling sector, I should say, that there's been some innovation in terms of offering bins that have multiple compartments within them, so that for sites that might be site constrained, space constrained, they can actually sort on site better. But you know, it does come down to, yeah, the construction sector really participating in that and not just pushing costs through to their customer and without them demanding
I agree,
that.
we need the education, but at some point we're just going to have forced people to do the proper thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen what's been happening down in Victoria, and they've gone sort of a public-private model where they've created a space and allowed the private sector to come in and kind of offer that service on site and divert some of that material, and they've been innovative in some of the approaches. So we've been watching that to see how that could maybe be transferred here too.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks. Yeah, I love the plan. As a member of the board, I've had plenty of opportunities to weigh in on this, so I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack. I just wanted to bring up that our host community agreement is coming up. And I just wanted to put down a bit of a marker so that it's on your radar, and I see Vivian's in the audience, that we're going to have to start thinking about negotiating a new agreement soon. Probably not for this board to look at, but the incoming board. So yeah, just wanted to put it out there on your radar that we're starting to think about it, and consequently you guys should be starting to think about it as well.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I'm sure
Yeah.
that'll be on our work plan for our new board.
Okay, yeah, great. Otherwise, yeah, like I said, I've had plenty of chances to look at this over, and I'm really happy to have a new plan.
Yeah. Did you had a couple more, or did they get
Well,
covered?
it almost covered. It was actually, I was adjacent to that host community piece. I wanted to note that it certainly seems that with the additional closures, but also with the practice as is, we've got significant impacts on activity in Cumberland. You know, we have more road traffic, which is the one we see every day. But the other one, I think one of the ones we don't see is that things like buffering and the land use that the site demands is limiting the commercial lands next door. For example, if they need to do buffers, then they can't build, and therefore we don't get property tax, because that land is not, you know, there's regulation about what can and can't be built within the realms of a landfill. So that, and however well managed you are, there's always those risks. You know, a landfill fire would be a really serious problem, and I know you do everything you can, or a pollutant leach into the Morrison Creek headwater area. So just, yeah, like to see all of that reflected in a host community agreement. I wish the last one had been consumer CPI linked. I think that was a real oversight. So yeah, just to echo what Councillor Turian added and feed that back.
Yeah, thanks.
you.
And certainly doesn't limit any development, but it does put limitations on the development. So it's not bare land, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And so I appreciate the inclusion of multifamily, or the encouragement of multifamily. And I guess I have a question for staff. Courtney's here. Whether or not we put in our multifamily zoning bylaw space for recycling and all the different streams. Did we build that in this time, or is that for amendment later?
But we require a space for those receptacles.
Okay.
in multifamily, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And congratulations on 1,200 people. That's pretty good for
It's
engagement.
It's a lot of
Engagement is hard.
conversations. Yeah,
Yeah.
in person. Yeah.
Yeah. And for doing it in each of our communities, that's also really appreciated. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is, oh wait, is there a motion to receive that or something? Don't need it? Okay, so next up is reports, Cumberland Event Society Community Services Partnership Agreement presentation. Hello, Ryan.
Good afternoon.
Oh God, I gotta go through this.
So as you know, the village has a community service partnership agreement with the Cumberland Event Society for the provision of the May Days annual events. That agreement goes through 2027. The village also has a memorandum of understanding in place with the society that clarifies roles and responsibilities around the event. So that document is also attached to my report. In the community service partnership agreement, one of the event society's commitments is to appear before council each year to present an annual report and a preview of the upcoming events. And so that is what we're here today. And with that said, I'll turn it over to Leslie Baird and Cindy Patterson of the Event Society.
Thank you. Can I ask you a quick question before you go, since you're there? I understand that we're swapping who's managing the races, and we were paying our own staff for that. So do you know how much money that was?
It's
the top
around
of your head?
$300. It's essentially,
Oh, it's not.
it's not a hugely significant amount of money. It's basically what we were spending to organize it.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting it done. Haven't totally.
I'll address that in my
Yeah.
report.
Okay, great. Thanks.
From here?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
I will ask for your forgiveness at the beginning. I had eye surgery. So
Uh-oh.
this
Can you
one
read
hasn't
your report?
This one hasn't adjusted. I can see us. But this one doesn't work well with my glasses now.
Uh-oh.
So that's why Cindy's
You
here
need
to
a
help.
pirate patch. Or maybe not.
No, that wouldn't help.
Yeah, okay, no.
No, if they have a question, I can't read it, I'll tell you.
Shades of Frank Ney.
Anyway, thank you very much for having us here today. And I would like to first comment on about the rapport with us and village staff, and it is absolutely amazing. Ryan has been phenomenal, and so is Kevin. So thank you very much.
Nice to hear.
We talk a lot. And if you remember last year for May Day, the Saturday night Washoe tournament, we had torrential rain. But it didn't stop people from coming out and participating. We sold out. And we had people sitting there waiting to play. And we just didn't have enough boards to complement everybody. So we started out with a real downpour, but we ended the weekend financially very well. So that was a very big positive thing. When I started 2 years ago, we had 5 people on the board that were doing the whole event for the weekend. Today, I'm proud to say, we have 17 people that sit on the board, and every one of them has a job to do with an event for the weekend. Our treasurer is Deb McLaughlin. She works in the finance department at Mount Washington, and she volunteers to sit on our committee. And so you will see the difference in our report, and she is committed that it will be better next year. Okay, and on that front, I think that everything went really well last year. We deal with complaints as they come in, which we very seldom get, by the way. Generally, people are very happy with the whole weekend. So, and we had a good turnout at all the events. And I know I put that in report, all the events that we do, so I'm not going to say much more than that, other than the fact that this year we've added a lot to our events, and we hope to continue to do that. As you'll notice that our sponsorship has risen by 50%. We now have Happy Sporting Goods on doing the Sunday soccer, and they are providing or helping sponsor the brand new shirts for the team that they haven't had in 30 years. And the over 35 are really glad to see that, because most of them are a little, they say the
Tight.
small shirts are small. Anyway, we do a lot of things, and we will continue to keep the tradition of our events and what we do, but we're also open to provide new events. The ones that I can talk off the top of my head are the Comox Valley Strikers volleyball team is going to conduct the children's races for the honorarium that they will receive. They are out raising funds, and they will put on a volleyball game during the day and would invite people to come out and play. It will be in the grass field, and they hope that they get some participation from people in Cumberland and the Valley. And the same is true with Ultimate Frisbee are coming. I'm doing a scheduled day, and they want to increase their membership in Ultimate Frisbee. And it's quite fast and it's quite good, but they are open to people joining in. We also have brought with us a nonprofit group out of Nanaimo to do Lego. Yes, and it will be held in the basketball court under the big tent, and they will have demonstrations, they will have participation, and they are being sponsored by Westview Ford for the day on Sunday. We're very excited about that. We're hoping that that will attract a lot of people. One of the things that we do not attract is the younger generation from about 13 to 20. So this year, Jet FM is partnering with us to do Rock the Park. And we originally were going to do it Saturday and Sunday, but we're just going to do it on the Sunday night now. And it's for bands under 20 years old. And they'll have the ability to perform on stage. The radio station will bring them in and interview them. And hopefully next year we'll grow it to become bigger and better. There's lots of younger people that do not have the opportunity to play. And so this, we hope, will be a successful evening for all of them. We also have the family dance that's going to be happening again this year. Big hit with the kids, especially with the cannon, the water cannons and that. We also have the doggy fashion show again. And we have a new person looking after that. And she has done some amazing jobs of sponsorship and changing it up a bit. So look forward to the presentations they make. So we, as it shows, we're doing a lot more. We actually have a person that writes our grants for us, Dana Starrett of Cumberland. And she has been very successful in acquiring grants for us. I think this is our third year for BC Gaming. And that gaming is to help us hire a park manager, someone with publicity. So they are the ones that do that type thing. The park manager sets up, takes down, and organizes the event for the whole weekend as far as the park is concerned. And we've been given permission this year to have our volunteers in the park camping to do the security. They're going to do the garbage and pick up and recycling. Emterra is gifting us a bin and all the recycle garbage containers that we need for the weekend. 40 Knots is providing us with a trailer and truck to transport everything to the park and take it home. Our beer garden, of course, is always a hit, and it's well attended. And that is our major fundraiser for the weekend. That's where we get the money to provide all these things for the kids. Yeah. This year we've changed the bike draw to a scooter draw. So that we have got 4 of them. Instead of giving 1 bike away or 2 bikes, we got 4 scooters. Only it is done differently because it's done by weight and not age. Because some of the scooters hold 80 pounds, some of them hold 100. So that's why we have to do it that way. We don't want to be calling kids up that aren't going to fit the scooter. And who's taking that on is the Parent Advisory Council here in Cumberland. They're going to run it for us. And what else was it I was going to say? I'm sure you're going to have questions, and this is where I have to put my glasses on. I can't see. Oh, our insurance. We've been informed by our insurance company that they will no longer cover our risk management portion of the event. But since then, doing some investigations, I've got leads on 4 different companies that will provide services. One is for festival events across Canada. One is for festivals and events in BC. And the other 2 are already insuring events already. So we will have to do that. It's a tremendous amount of work because they're changing what they do. We've never had a claim against our insurance company. We kept them informed of everything we did, but this year they wanted it in more detail. And they actually wanted to know if we had medical services for the parade. And I listed all the fire departments, the ambulance service,
Happened to be in the parade.
everybody, so that we are well covered. And it really makes it interesting that everybody is so concerned about liability and insurance, and I can see why. We also got our first letter from the RCMP asking us to provide more information about the blocking off the streets. We sent the information about the Dunsmuir for the parade. We sent them the information on the soapbox derby, and they just said thank you very much, and we haven't heard another word from them. So, because I know that some parades are being canceled because of the cost of the security involved.
Yeah.
So we're okay at this point. But we'll be looking at it because it's all done by volunteers. We pay for very little in the way of people. And let's see, what else would I say? Okay. Yes. And just to let you know, 19 Wing has canceled the fly pass because of world conditions, and they cannot take, and gas prices.
Yeah.
So they said they will not be here this year. That's unfortunate, but very understanding. The other thing that we're very pleased about, and we took it to the meeting last night, is we had the Comox First Nation elders we have been applying every year for them to attend our event. This year, they said they're looking for somebody to attend our event, which is very good. It's taken a while. So we're very pleased about that. Yes, she will do the opening comments to us. So what other group or anyway? And I do have with me a list of all our committee members and the positions. I didn't include it in your package because it wasn't appropriate because it's their email and phone numbers also on it, and so it would be not appropriate to do that. The other thing is we're May Queen lunch.
Yes.
We're changing the location, but I won't know officially until Tuesday, but I will notify all the dignitaries that the location has been changed, okay?
Okay.
And we've got 2 members of council that have confirmed.
Was I one of them?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. So
I'm sorry, my wife is still trying to decide where we're going to be that weekend. So
that is
I will
fine.
let you know as soon as I
Understandable.
know.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Can I confirm right now?
Yes, you can.
Excellent.
Good. Will you be single or with a partner?
I think that's a little personal question. I'll just be by myself.
Thank you very much.
No plus one, thanks.
And as you know, that is all volunteers that put on the luncheon. We got a sponsor, and we're very happy for that. And so that's what we're looking for, is people that are interested in helping us. I actually had a gentleman stop me yesterday that would love to put on a doggy wiener dog race. And I said, that would be fantastic, but it's a little too late this year, so let's look at next year. He says, well, I'll do all the work. And I said, you're just the one I want to see.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Add it to the doggy fashion show lineup. Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
It would be a lot of fun. He's attended them in Vancouver. He said they are hilarious.
I bet.
Yes. So, any other questions? I have the year-end budget there. I hope you're all happy with it. We certainly are. And if there's any changes you'd like to be seen, please let us know.
Okay. Questions? comments, council?
No question. Just thank you for coming and sharing all this with us. Sounds like you guys are going from strength to strength right now, and looking forward to another fun event.
It is a lot of fun, and it really still amazes me that you talk to people from Cumberland that leave that weekend and have never been to an event. And it's really surprising that they don't come, but that's up to them. I can understand why they would leave, some of them, for the weekend and go camping, especially when the weather is great.
If I may, just, again, thank you so much. Soccer and now volleyball. It's as if you're like looking out for my sports.
Yes.
I'll be there.
And ultimate frisbee.
Ultimate, my knees don't want to do ultimate. And you do so much with so little dollars. So thank you very much. And also, I know last year I did have a comment that the financial presentation needed work. I didn't doubt the financial condition, but I'm really glad to see that you've invested time and effort in, and you have a person to do that. I note that the budget side of that, with projected revenues, you're still working on there. So I look forward to next year seeing that step forward again. And then I did just want to, it may just be presentation or interpretation, but having been a treasurer of a society that used gaming funds, one thing they were very tight on was no carry forward and all funds must be spent in a year. And it looks like you may not have done that, you may well have done, but I wouldn't want you to have risk of the gaming people getting upset with you because
One of the
it's annoying.
and thank you very much for bringing that up. What happens is we receive the gaming money in August. So we have had to make a motion on the board that we will keep the money until we've got 1 year to spend the money.
Yes, you do.
So it's from May to May. They understand that.
We have applied for a special circumstance.
Yeah.
Good, you've got that covered then.
Yeah,
That's great.
and it's been really good in that respect that Dana has done an amazing job for us, and we hope next year to apply to them. You notice that we bought a stage. Under gaming, we could have applied for that, but we weren't aware of that. But it would have been after the fact. So we're going to actually apply, hopefully in February, and apply for some of the things that we need on a regular basis, because things are changing now, and we have a really good relationship with the Comox Valley Fall Fair Committee, but they are wanting us to start paying for what we get from them. And so that could have a major impact on us and our budget, but they've given it to us this year for free, but we got to look at what we can get from others. And just to let you know that we are renting the stage out to other organizations to help pay for the cost of buying the stage. And it's working out really well.
Thank you.
Nothing to add, just my respect and gratitude. It's the best weekend every year in Cumberland, so we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just have a couple. You mentioned that that the volunteers are going to be camping in the park. Are they camping in vehicles? Or are they camping in tents?
At this point, we really don't know what they are going to be
Okay.
camping in. We will be watching them and be very careful. They really would like to camp up close to the tennis courts because
So they can watch. Yeah.
they can watch everything, and that really helps because there's a lot of money out there, like bounce and all that, and they don't want to be taking everything back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea to have them on site for security. And in the waste stream section you mentioned, are you able yet to do like recycling separation?
That's MTerra.
That's what they're doing?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. And do you know right now how much your insurance is going up?
I'll tell you what it was this year. It was $4,500.
Yeah.
And $600 for director's liability.
Yeah.
It went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expect with a new provider it might go
Yes.
up again. Yeah.
Well, most of them know the other ones know the situations from the organizations that put on events. There's not as many events as there used to be.
Yeah.
And they're not the only one. Our porta potties went up a huge amount of money. Everything has gone up more money for us to put on the event.
Yeah.
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 And that's why you notice that we asked for our grant before the event to make sure
Yeah.
that we have the money to continue that part.
Awesome. The only thing, I've never heard a complaint either, obviously. It's a great event. It's a great weekend. But I do get a lot of questions about how do I sign up for and how do I get a hold of and how do I get involved in. And I noticed that there's no website and the Facebook, I couldn't find the Facebook page and the QR code is not working. Is your comms person on that?
Yes, she
Okay.
is, and she's updating it constantly.
Okay.
One of the things that we have never advertised before long weekend, May 1st.
Yeah.
And so what I hope for next year is to keep the same person that we have now and get it out there earlier. One of the big things is we have to start organizing it earlier because we're still working on filling the park.
Yeah.
And things change. We had somebody doing the concession, and we've had somebodies doing the concession, and they've both backed out. And it's getting too close to find somebody
Yeah.
to do that. And we need somebody there that is going to be open the whole time the beer garden is. And one of the truck ones will do it, but it would be nice to have it in the by the beer garden there.
Yeah.
So.
I thought the food trucks were great. Yeah.
The concession just offers like a cheaper meal.
Yeah.
It offers non-alcoholic beverages for us at like a sort of
Right. Yeah.
a pack price.
Yeah.
But one of the only complaints we got was the price of the liquor last year at $7 a drink. So we have lowered that to $6 this year.
And it's really unusual because they're willing to go to another place and drink at that for more. So it's interesting that people think we provide this venue and it doesn't cost us any money. They're always quite surprised that we actually have to pay for a liquor license
Yeah.
and how much we pay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you and good luck in your continued planning and look forward to the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks
Thank
for being
you.
here, both of you. And next up thanks, Cindy. Next up is Elevate the Arts Society 2025 Community Services Partnership Agreement presentation.
Hello again. This is going to sound very similar. So the village also has a community services partnership agreement with Elevate the Arts, and that's for the provision of cultural services, the Halloween and Easter event, the summer concert series, and the Christmas tree lighting. And just as with the Event Society, Elevate has also committed to appear before council each year to present an annual report and a look at the year ahead. And so to deliver that presentation, I'll introduce Megan Kersons of Elevate.
Thanks, Ryan. Come on up, Megan.
I made you a beautiful PowerPoint presentation,
Oh.
but I didn't send it in time.
I sent it.
And then I emailed it to
I
all
bet
of
it has
you.
really nice photos
It does.
as well.
I actually emailed
Oh,
it
did
to
you?
all of you, so you could even look at it on your screen right now if you
Oh,
wanted to.
thank you. I will.
Thank you very much for having us. As you know, the Elevate Arts Society is a nonprofit production company based here in Cumberland with members also in Courtenay. We do some really fun stuff in the village and a few other places. And so I will, if you're looking at the presentation, I can do it in that order or this. We produce something called the Hop and Seek Easter event on behalf of, I should just qualify just so people don't think I have a wonderful team who do 90% of this execution, and I'm a producer. So everything I'm about to tell you does not mean that I am doing all these things. So I'd like to really right off the bat acknowledge Bobby Heron, Carrie Ann Griffith, Mark Berge, Kara McHugh, and Alan Jossel, who are the other members of the production team.
Thank you.
The Hop and Seek Spring Celebration is something that we have taken on for several years now. Oh, you're going to show me. I get to look at my pretty pictures. There we go. Hop and Seek. It's a scavenger hunt style. We decided we created it to replace the sort of Lord of the Flies version of Easter egg hunts in a town with well over 1,000 children. So we've replaced it with two scavenger hunts, one that is down in Coal Creek Historic Park and one for the littles in Number 6 Park. You hunt for stuffies, they're in the trees. You have an educational treasure hunt. You go looking for owls and turtles and ravens and answer little quizzes about them. We have a lovely partnership with Cumberland Community Schools Society, which brings down a healthy snack as well. We purchase chocolates from Darkside Chocolate in a reflection of the village's procurement policy. And this year we also partnered with Cumberland Culture and Arts Society to deliver one of their concert series events at the event with Some Bunny Love Me, which is a beautiful bunny-themed puppet show that was very delightful. This event goes well. We often are curious. This year it's on Easter weekend, so it's a bit of a curiosity around around what the attendance numbers are. We definitely are sitting between 200 and 300 people coming out for that. That's how many prizes we're giving away. We're watching that over time to see if what we're offering is what people want. But wow, it's such a delightful day. So it seems to, we'll keep doing it as long as the village would like us to deliver that. For some reason, I'm going out of order from the holidays, but I'm the only one looking at my presentation. So.
We're all.
Are you
We
now?
all got it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Villagers
Got
Tree
your
Light Up
photos.
is an event that we do at the beginning of December. It includes outreach and communications with the business community, booking of music, entertainment, MC, and then working again with our partner Cumberland Culture and Arts Society, who come down and do hot apple cider. It's a great event. Challenges we experience there is that square is getting really full. And as I will mention in the concert series update, we also have trouble maintaining the electrical integrity on the tree due to the climbing of the monkeys. But, you know, we have a team ready to put the power cords back together again, as happened this year. It's a great event. We're just starting to get squishy in there, so I don't know where our new, center square is going to be with a giant Christmas tree, but a very lovely event. The Halloween event, again, we do outreach and engagement with the business community. And one of the things that we hear anecdotally, and I know you have as well, the pressure it puts on small business to provide candy, which is dirt cheap. But anyhow, to kids, we have some businesses, of course, that are handing out ice cream and pizza and doing all kinds of amazing stuff. Next year, what we think we may do is reach out and say, if you are unable to buy a bag of candy, that we will sponsor anyone on the main street who needs a bag of candy. I think it's unlikely that will actually get responded to, but at least we can facilitate that option if people feel like it's being people come out, they do it, and I really do. People like Loves Ice Cream and Riders producing thousands of mini pizzas. This year we were rained upon, and so we moved the dance party into Buchanan Hall. And then the skies parted outside, so you can never really tell what's going to go on, but it's quite a lovely thing. And I think it's really cool the way that Cumberland has that event, because all the grown-ups dress up, and that doesn't happen everywhere. It gives everyone a chance to come out and do this street dance, and people with kids or without kids. I think that is what is so cool about this event. We're learning a few lessons around how to do it's a very short window of traffic management, working with volunteers, but the village has been great, and we're kind of sorting out how to make sure that we're doing that safely and in a good way. And then, of course, we produced the summer concert series. So in 2025, we did 7 concert events. Giving you some slides on some of them. We opened with the Spiritual Warriors, who are from the reggae band from the Lil'wat Nation. We're actually bringing them in for National Indigenous Peoples Day this year. And we wrapped it up with Dante DeCaro and Daniel Marr as a double bill on August 21st with a wonderful roster of music in between. In July, we also bring Triple Heat Dance's summer production camp to Cumberland, and they perform in Village Square. And for our August event, we bring in the kids from the songwriting camp, and they put on a concert before the concert. So lots of fun. Biggest challenge with that, with the concert series, want to acknowledge the Waverly Hotel, which provides us accommodation. and Riders Pizza and Biblio Taco, who provide meals for our musicians. So Bobby negotiates all that and gets them their dinner cards. Our biggest challenge with the square is that it has become a destination gathering place on those Thursday nights. People are excited to catch up with each other. People also talk a lot and loudly. So we are making choices this year to modify the programming to make sure that the artists who are visiting also have a better time. And it is a bit of a challenge with that space. It comes back again to the tree, but it also comes back to a culture that we hope to continue to try and cultivate in the community, and that is being a good audience. And I think in 2026 that we've become disconnected a little bit from how we behave at live music events. We're so used to consuming media on our screens that we forget how to be in relationship with performers. And until the day I die, I will continue to invest my spirit and my energy into keeping that reciprocity alive and trying to teach it to the next generation, which I hope other parents would start to do as well. I have provided you, I guess what I'd let you know is you would see us pop up. Oh, actually, well, you can see in the budgets, there's all of the events are budget neutral except for the tree light up that Elevate makes a contribution to, because we have a tiny piece of money for it, and we're fine with that. As you may know, we produce Market Day and Foggy Mountain Fall Fair, and it is the proceeds from those events that provide the funds to pay for the 60% of the expenses for the summer concert series for our community. So those are our two main revenue streams, and just for interest's sake, to let you know, what else did I put there? I'm going to go, yeah, so the other things that we do through our fundraising, which is through event production for here in the village and for other partners, is we also produce Woodstove in the schools in partnership with the Woodstove Arts Festival, and do that each November. We are the organization of note for the Valley Edge Choir, who contributed all their concert revenues this year, and the revenues from a Dickens Christmas reading that Councillor Ward was also part of, to the Red Roof campaign. And then our team also produces Moonlight and Magic for the Downtown Courtenay BIA. We produce Music in the Park for the town of Comox, and we co-produce Pulse on the Plaza with our partners at the Comox Valley Art Gallery and Comox Valley Arts. And then...
And Market Day. Cumberland Market
and
Day.
music for Market Day as well, not the entire event, only music. The DCBIA does the rest, but Bobby produces the music component. And then, with whatever pennies may be left over at the end of the year, we co-produce the Winter Solstice Gathering here with a bunch of different amazing NGOs and First Nations partners. And last year also did one on February 2nd to celebrate Imbolc. So these are these perhaps non-traditional and less colonial holidays that we choose to mark that are more connected to the land and community and and creativity that makes this community so beautiful. So that is my report, and those are the pretty pictures.
Thank you so much for letting us know that you'd sent us those pretty pictures so we could look at them. They really do capture the spirit of the event, and they are really lovely events. I didn't make the Easter one, but all the other ones, of course, I see. But I think Councillor Barecki was at the Easter.
There's a picture of Councillor Barecki
thing.
there helping
I'm sure
to
there
hand
is.
out.
Yes. And much appreciated. They're super awesome events, and that partnership really allows us to do so much more than we could as a staff team. So thank you. Questions, council, comments?
Again, no questions on this. The report looks fine. Thank you for putting all of this on and all the effort and
It's a compulsion.
work you do to create community. Just maybe a suggestion. If we're getting too big at Christmas time, let's just close the street and spill out into it.
That would be the next move for sure, and figure out and we understand there's lots of really interesting work and redesign conversations happening around parks for parks master planning. It'll resolve resolve itself, I guess. It's this problem with Cumberland being so awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to come.
Tough problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good problem to
thank you.
have, for sure.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, that's what I said. So don't worry about
Somebody
it.
just has to be on standby to plug in the cord. That's
Yeah.
okay. Anybody else have anything?
For the Halloween, appreciating the options for some help, maybe. The candy was $200 worth of cheap last year for my business.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not quite. It's a good. It wasn't free, but
Yeah.
I don't think we'll need that. But I think that's a nice option for people who
Yeah,
might
we're
not
just
be able
gonna
to
put
as
it there.
easily.
Also, like, if you want to do something decent, right? You can get it for cheap, but if you're
Yeah.
handing out cheap chocolate,
Yeah.
right? So if
I
you
get it.
want to do something half decent,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But thanks for everything. Everything's great. Look forward to the summer.
Echo all of that. Thank you for all the work, for the professionalism of the organisation and the reporting. And I did one day, yes, I was going to mention street closure as the next step up for these things, and especially if we ever get Penrith paved, we've got a more diversionary, and we can do those sort of things. Do we need to net the tree or do some other things to prevent climbing? I don't know.
It's
but all of
really
that
hard,
seems to
given the
come.
other hats I have on, to suggest doing anything to degradate the tree.
I know.
But yeah, it's we all know it's a challenge in the park. It is a challenge, but it's also community's responsibility to think about how we are in those events too. And I don't want to just manage the heck out of everything. I want people to do the right thing too.
Yeah, it would not be, it would be really sad not to be holding it right there in the heart of our community where people are milling around and coming out from pizza or beer and taking part. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we could do this Times Square model and get Mosaic to donate a giant tree, which we could bring in and set up in the middle of the intersection like they do. No?
Absolutely. Sure.
that
yeah.
would be cool.
Whatever you
As
like.
a roundabout, active.
Yeah, an
An
active
transportation
roundabout.
roundabout.
Yeah,
Just for
totally.
Christmas.
For like a month.
For the
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem. We'll add that to the list of emerging events and opportunities that our community likes to bring forward
Exactly.
for us all the time.
I'm there for it, friends.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Okay.
If that's all the questions, we will thank you and release you.
I'm going to stay for
next
the
thing.
RCMP. That sounds
Okay,
really
yeah.
interesting. Okay.
And I'm just thinking we might want to, given Inspector Mercer is here, reverse the order. Is that going to mess staff up at all if we do strategic priorities after RCMP? No? Yes? Good? Oh, do we need a motion?
Inspector Mercer could report on the quarterly report, update you on the end of the year before you discuss the annual priorities.
Okay, which is in this, right, okay.
Does that make sense, or you
Yep.
can switch it?
Yeah, I've moved things around. I'm flexible.
Okay, okay.
Continue with the agenda.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll start with strategic priorities, first quarter report, January to March. I believe Michelle is up for, oh, no, Inspector Mercer's up. Let's go.
Sorry, am I?
Yeah, no, you're
did I
great.
just advance someone?
Nope, we can do that.
Okay. Just you coming up?
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, for sake of brevity, I'll just move through the quarterly report. I believe an advance copy was given to this council, and thank you again for hosting us here today and allowing us to present. So we're just concluding off the last of our 2025-2026 year. So for calls for service for the Village of Cumberland, there was no change in our quarterly results for the fourth quarter compared to last year. The most common calls for service that we saw was unsurprisingly traffic, suspicious persons, and property offenses. So generally categorized as mischief or break and enter or minor property offenses. Most common call locations was with respect to a private residence. Obviously, we can't release the residence to council here, but what I can speak to is that this was not a group home. This was in relation to mental health and domestic concerns at a particular residence here in town, but we're connected, we're engaged with those people, and we feel that it's going to come down in the next quarter when I was talking to my analyst. With respect to violent crime, the most commons were assaults, threats, and sex offenses. We did see a doubling of sex offenses from, I believe, 2 to 4. Speaking with my analyst, this wasn't predatory, this wasn't serial in nature, these were just isolated on their own offenses. Not to undermine the significance of the offense, it's a common concern that's raised from council as far as the trends of these type of offenses. With respect to property crime, break and enter to businesses was the most common. Mischief to property, we saw a dramatic decline for this quarter, and we did see an increase in frauds. And the type of frauds commonly that we're seeing across the spectrum within the Comox Valley and just generally for criminal trends is an uptick in online type frauds. So whether it's crypto, whether it's financial or sextortion, for lack of a better term for it, is also another alluring type ensnare type fraud offense, and it's commonly done through social websites, through Facebook, through Kijiji, an introduction of some kind that's made by the persons that are engaged in this forum, and then obviously under the impression that they're talking to a person in a position of wealth or stature or in a romantic relationship, and they get ensnared because they share information and data that unfortunately gets them either too far ahead of their nose on it, or they commit or press send on financial stuff that they don't have a firm understanding. So open areas and park, we saw a modest increase in rec grounds. What I can speak to is with our initiative from our APP this past year with proactive patrols and a patrol log. From January 1st, 2026 to today's date, we had 87 proactive patrols for the Village of Cumberland. And that consists of about approximately 46% of our total proactive patrols made from January 1st to today's date. So we do spend a substantial amount of time. I know there are concerns that we'll likely talk about here when it comes to police visibility in terms of traffic issues, off-road vehicles and ATVs, but I kind of want to put that ahead of the discussion to say that we are out here. Could we be out here enough? Obviously, but we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we do have. That concludes our quarterly report. And for council, sorry, and I should have introduced Troy to my right here. So Staff Sergeant Beauregard is our operations NCO, who's familiar with the type of data that I'm presenting here, but also to speak to our annual policing priorities that are planned that we're going to be doing with this council here after this presentation on our quarterly report.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Questions, council? Comments?
Yeah, just what are some of your experiences with the drive arounds? Are you catching anybody, or you just happening upon some stuff? Like,
no, I mean, we have issued a number of enforcements. I'll rewind council's attention back to October of last year and early November, where we did a more concerted sweep of enforcement strategy within this area. We will try to look towards doing some more strategic initiatives in this area in the coming year. I probably foresee that our discussion with council today will talk about traffic as being a rolling over priority. It's not that I view that one particular initiative is going to be a silver bullet for the problems that occur here. The traffic problems are unique in Cumberland in the sense of the off-road vehicle use within town. Obviously, we don't have as much of that in the city of Courtenay or the town of Comox, but I think from the challenges that it presents itself in terms of how we look to do enforcement, we have to be wary that while there is a public safety concern that they present to the public here, there's also a concern for safety for the rider itself. It's not like we can, or we're going to encourage the chasing around of individuals or anything like that. We'll have to be a little more strategic as far as what we look at in terms of, I want to pair it with education as well as enforcement. I think we're past the point where everyone's familiar with what they should or should not be doing with this type of activity. So I'm fine to start engaging enforcement again. It's just finding an opportune time in which we can do that. I'm hoping that we can start having some conversations with people from this town. I'm opening myself up in the second week of May for a coffee with a cop at the Grind on May 14th at 9 a.m. In which if there's people from the Village of Cumberland that wish to speak to me or another officer, we'll make ourselves available, and that we'll have some, more like in line with the fireside chats, things that are problems within people in this community, as well as maybe some out-of-the-box solutions that are legal as far as what to do when it comes to enforcement activities. Everyone has their ideas as far as how they can deal with things, but we have to be realistic, and a large portion of the people that we're seeing with this kind of reckless activity is youth-based, right?
Yeah.
So we need to look at this from a perspective that while we want to prevent these individuals from engaging in this type of activity, we also want them to understand the consequences of their decision making, whether it's to the public that they put at risk or to themselves.
Yeah, 100%. That was May 14th at 9 a.m.
Yes,
Okay, at the grind.
the ground,
Yep.
yes.
Thank you. Questions?
Just the, around the property mischief to property, yeah, that we had a bit of a rash there. Has that number come down significantly because you were able to do some enforcement actions
There have been some
and-
unrelated enforcement actions, so persons that we feel that are commonly responsible for some of these activities were charged on unrelated offenses, and there was some conditions in which they were put on curfew or to remain in their residence. It makes them a little bit more accountable. It doesn't always necessarily guarantee that they're going to follow those rules, but if they get breached, then there's the potential for them to go in front of a justice or a judge, and then they have to argue as far as why they should be released, right? So I would say that it's probably a combination of factors on that. It also could be just a rise and ebb and flow in crime trends too. So I'll take the win and say, yes, it's because of all of our activities that we're doing out here in Cumberland.
Good. Yeah, no, it's really nice to see that number coming down. And I don't see any of the other numbers that are like way out of whack or anything. So, yeah, thank you. That's looking.
And I would maybe just follow on and touch from that, the total calls for service. I was gratified to see that whilst it seems about the same as the last quarter, if I actually look at the trend, January was high, and then we've had a significant drop for February and March. Statistics are difficult things. Do you feel that is reflective of the results of your proactive activity or other changes you're seeing?
I mean, I'll always endorse the fact that more police presence within a community acts as a deterrent when it comes to crime. I can't say firsthand if that's the reason for why we're seeing the dip here. I'd have to take a better look in terms of our forecasts and stuff, and we'll see into the next quarter. We are running into the challenges right now when it comes to our detachment resources, is committing our service deliveries to our communities. Our calls for service in other municipalities are going up, and we're trying to prioritize as best as we can, and that's not to minimize the concerns that are happening here in Cumberland. But if you see a reduced visibility aspect, we've had to fold a couple units right now to backfill for our vacancies that are on the floor. So our bike unit has been brought into general duty. Our crime reduction unit has been brought into general duty. So with that, though, it's a lot of our proactive element that was working on, the police visibility stuff within Cumberland for the bike unit, paired with our offender management and our drug investigations and stuff. Not to say that we're not still actively investigating those. It's just the ability to do as much as what we were doing in the past limits us a little bit. And we're hoping that come the months that pass, that we'll start to get those vacancies backfilled from members that are off long-term sick, so that we can return our members to their substantive duties, which is to go back into bikes. And it's not that I'm disbanded these units, it's just a temporary measure to backfill. So it's going to be interesting the next coming months as far as what these stats reflect with our scaling back of our proactive units. But I'm still willing to keep this initiative of the patrol log and stuff as a required mandatory, especially when it comes to the rural areas and the smaller villages, to ensure that we're still out here and that we're not that you guys are aware of our activities as well, so I can bring that to council's attention.
Mm-hmm. So is that a recruitment issue, or is that just long-term
this is
vacancies?
just, and I've spoken to this before, this is just our members eventually breaking down over time. I like to equate it to fire, in the sense that if they had to continually go from fire to fire to fire and not have any respite and not have any ability to have people to fill in for them or step in for our people to get the required rest, eventually over time it's going to break down, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
this is a long-standing discussion that I've had with the various municipalities and the need to increase our police resourcing because our populations are going up, the calls for service are going up, but yet we're stagnant as far as where we are, and now we're receding to the point where we have to start moving sections into the front lines so that we can just meet the calls for service, because the calls for service are, in some areas that we police, are double the provincial average.
Yeah. On top of a very small detachment with no room for new people. Yeah.
Oh, you've noticed that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. I did notice that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did notice that,
Yeah.
yeah. And it leaked.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I also, it's more, I guess, it's a comment, and it's thank you. We had a very brief conversation before you started. Thank you for noting fraud. I just really for public and others, I've had the tough job of helping a couple of Valley residents who've been victims of tens of thousands of dollars of online fraud. Yeah. And I just say to everybody, if you get the slightest whiff or suspicion that one of your friends or relatives is onto something that's too good to be true or is conversing in some way they shouldn't, please pull on that thread and try and stop it before it goes too far. And thank you for your work in supporting that too.
Well, and unfortunately, it's becoming more common than not, and the numbers that we're seeing for the type of amounts of money that people are being defrauded, these aren't small amounts. I mean, some of them are, but we're seeing files of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. People's entire life savings are being depleted, and we're very limited as far as what we can do from a detachment perspective. A lot of these offenders are international. They're sophisticated. They have an ability to mask their transactions. If it's crypto, it's not tracked by any banking institutions or worldwide banking institutions. It's literally gone. So if you don't understand the nature of what you're getting involved in, please don't engage in it. Right? Talk to certified professionals that can give you the appropriate guidance, and you're not going to find that from someone that just hits you up online and promises you a sweet deal.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we can move into if that's all the questions on the report, we can talk about priorities now, if we want, which I'm scrolling because I wrote notes somewhere. There we go. So we can just go around the table and get thoughts from council on what our priorities. I was trying to remember whether, and maybe it's in your note, how many priorities were allowed.
You can always suggest as many priorities
Yeah,
as you want.
and then
Doesn't
you can
necessarily
sort
mean they're
out.
going to make the final cut with us. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Focused is better. That's what I thought.
What
Okay.
I can speak to, Your Worship, is that from last year, we had a town hall consultation which you helped moderate, and then we had council's recommendations, which weren't too far from one another as far as what was suggested. So from the village council in April of last year, this council recommended youth mischief, late night police patrols, trap house / drug houses, and police visibility and engagement as the priorities for us to consider. And in consultation with the other municipalities and provincial partners, our priorities condensed to focus in on the following, which was traffic / road safety, crime reduction, which emphasized prolific offenders and strategies, police community relations, which translated into police visibility, mental health, and the strategies out of that, which was another focal point, as well as Indigenous relations and reconciliation. So those were our detachment priorities that we took from the consultation, not just from the Village of Cumberland, but from Courtenay, Comox, as well as the provincial areas, the CVRD. We haven't discussed within our senior management team, obviously, because now we're coming back to the communities to talk about the 2026 year, 2027, as far as what of those priorities, if there's going to be a continuation of the ones that you had from last year, if you want to build on them. You don't have to make your decisions today on this. Where it's not like we're going back to the office and crafting our plan tonight. You do have some time to discuss at Wholesome, and then through Michelle communicate those back to us as far as what you're looking at. And if at the end of it you just want to build on or just wipe them out completely and start anew with different ones, we'll take that into consideration, and we'll make sure it's incorporated as best as we can to ensure that the service delivery is consistent throughout the entire area that we're providing.
Awesome, thank you. Maybe just one more question on the break-ins to businesses. I'm presuming that's a late night, early morning situation again?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Who would like to start? anything?
Oh, no, I mean, priorities, it's sort of maybe too specific. I'm keen that it's the work is specific, that enforcement work is specific, not general. So it's about hotspots and it's about trouble. So, for example, we are talking here about, as a community, introducing a lower blanket speed limit throughout the community. And I would hope and expect that any enforcement around that would be still, parks and school zones, and not sort of, now it's 30 or whatever it becomes. Ooh, we've got an opportunity for enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, we do get that concern from other areas that we police, that when they have, say, people that come into town that don't belong in the area or are outsiders and stuff, they're the ones that are the offenders, and then they want enforcement, and then we do enforcement, and it's like, well, wait a minute, we didn't want to be enforced. We wanted the people coming inside of town being enforced. Obviously, the communication around any sort of speed zones that you're looking to alter, we would be more than happy to have those conversations. We're along the same lines. We're not here to just enforce new strategies on behalf of council and stuff. We want to take a broader look as far as what are the contributing problems, and the ones that largely get identified, whether it's through social media, through council, or through people that knock on my door or email me directly.
Yep.
It's off-road vehicle activities, as well as speeding offenses that are happening within the town that aren't just like 10 over. They're going at reckless speeds and stuff. So those would be our focus as well. And I don't know if that deviates from your thoughts on it, Troy, but
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, particularly risk to pedestrians in crosswalks, risks to things that result in specific risks to individuals and all that pieces, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to mention the 30-kilometer. I suspect that won't start for some time, so we'll make sure that we have a conversation up ahead of that.
Sure.
Losing my words, so that we can talk about strategies. Does anybody else have anything? Because I have something.
I'm still mostly with where we landed last time. Our priorities of the youth offenders, and that seems to have come down a lot. So yes, thank you for that. Late night patrols, visibility. I think you mentioned specific houses, maybe drug related, and I suspect that probably also ties in with the mental health priorities that you were talking about on your side. So
there can be some overlap to that for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not changing much from where we landed last time.
Yeah, same.
Last time we were really knee-jerk on the mischief. It was like really popping off last year. So that was a real big priority for us with the youth and the mischief. But that definitely has calmed down.
But what we'll see once the summer returns.
Yeah.
We're going to see the
fair.
increases on this, right? When kids don't have things to do in their board, we're going to see the petty vandalism return. And then I think we saw a spike in it when we were on the spring break session for a little bit. So again, it's maybe coming up with creative ideas as far as what we can do to engage the youth a little bit better. There's always going to be a certain population that probably won't want to do anything that they view as to be somewhat uncool or anything, and we get that. But I mean, there's always opportunity that we can explore as far as how we can better engage the youth to at least maybe detract some of them from going down that path or being lured down that path of those type of activities, because not everyone in a group of 20 kids is going to be bad. It may be a certain population of them, and then there's the others that are just there because they're buddies of buddies, right? So open to new ideas, and you and I have had thoughts about this before as far as how we might be able to better interact and have a more positive interaction with police officers, with youth in this community, to kind of lend that moral insight as far as like, don't do that. Maybe just tell your buddies not to damage someone's fence, because someone's got to pay for that, right?
Yeah, and I think just the visibility in the community and having conversations with youth makes a difference, because those ones that have not gone down that road, or who have friends who maybe they're worried about, it gives them a relationship and a person to reach out to. We do have, Weird Church has hired a youth worker of sorts, so there might be an opportunity there as well to partner.
And to, to incorporate Chris as well to this, as far as, we talked about the positive ticket campaign.
Yeah.
And how we might be able to expand that out and have more of a regional approach as opposed to like focused in on specific, like a golden ticket for everywhere as opposed to just something for the Village of Cumberland people and for the City of Courtenay, because as we found with Comox Valley, everyone tends to cross and do stuff in different areas, right? So.
Yeah. Did you speak to the lake? Were you guys? I know you did patrols out at the lake at the boat launch last year. That's still on the radar seasonally.
We just have the smaller vessel that we can utilize when we do
Okay.
general seasonal policing. We'll offer patrols. We did have a few lake patrols last year in conjunction with our seasonal policing with the campground visits and things like that. But yeah, we'll offer that again, I'm sure, this coming year.
I think along the lines of grant funding and exploring that and putting pressure on the province to look at maybe giving something a little bit more wholesome. I know everyone's probably reaching in the same pot as far as what they need for funding, but the more that we can get towards enhanced policing helps us lure people from officers from other areas as well to take up on those opportunities, because while we're trying to meet our own frontline demands, right, if we have an ability to pay for it, and then we can put the advertisements out as far as, boat operators to come and do proactive patrols. It might be a break for someone down island to come up and work this area too.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But with that, we need to, come together with a unified message as far as how we approach that to the provincial government, because we found in previous years they scale back some money based on, whatever they're willing to give. And sometimes it's just, we highlighted that with the issues at the campground last year as far as the need to increase, because I felt that the time for where they were giving us the money needed to be expanded a little bit more, because there was an area like summer is kind of extended here in a little bit. Like we see the September and October where it's still fair weather and people are still utilizing these areas, and the seasonal funding dries up pretty quick because we tend to try and use it in the summer months, right? So
Yeah.
the legitimate summer months.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. The other idea I had was maybe, I appreciate the whatever you called it, meet the inspector, come talk to me or whatever at the
Oh,
the
I didn't say it was
grind.
going to be me.
Oh, Troy. No, it's not going to be you either.
No.
It's going to be somebody.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and potentially an opportunity to invite the off-road community to come down and have a conversation.
Sure.
And do some outreach that way. So maybe we can continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, sounds like more of the same as last year.
And again,
But
give you
we'll-
guys the time to discuss
Yeah.
as a group. And then with this Coffee with the Cop, it also gives me another opportunity as a community outlet and consultation with people there to see what their issues are, if they differ from what maybe council is suggesting. But yeah.
For sure, that would
Yeah.
be great. Okay, if that's all, then we can let them go. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll move on to the rest of our reports.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Take care. Yeah.
Okay, so, where am I? I went too far.
I can provide a bit of an update on the strategic
Thank you, yeah, you're
quarterly.
up
Okay.
first, I think. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to find my
Oh,
spot.
okay.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so this is your first quarter of 2026 update. There are the other reports that have stats in them as well attached. The financial services, which gives you your first 3 months. Later on tonight, you're going to have the 2025 audited financial statements, so it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. We have the fire chief here to answer any protective services. You've just heard from the RCMP. We have development services, and then we have, my report says bylaw services, actually permitting, licensing, and bylaw services.
Yes.
Actually. So I'll change that for next time. And then your council action list, all of your different actions that you've directed staff, and then the progress towards those. One thing you may have noticed is I did add another of the update reports. I've put all of them in there. So back in May, you had asked me to split the reports to show all the completed. So then that left the in progress, and it didn't really give you a full picture. So now you have a report that has all of them in there, because that actually tells you that we've completed 73% of your 129 goals. And so I think that's important. And that's not like 129, 73 of them are all complete.
Yeah.
It just means we've made progress about 73% towards those. But you will see a few items in there that are behind schedule or overdue. And some of them are external. We can certainly ask questions. Some of them are capacity related. And then just the nature of where we're at in your term, where we've had to put other things ahead of a few things. And we're gonna turn that back around and come back and get those come from behind and bring them up to on track. But for now, they're showing us behind. And I think it's really important to show that as well, just so you can understand where we're at. Really pleased to talk about the ribbon cutting that took place for the wastewater treatment plant phase 1. Just a few other things, the staff are working on or outlined in my report. And then we also have a summary of all the grants that we've applied for, which ones were not approved, which ones were approved, and then which ones we're still waiting to hear from, which that list is actually growing. But we should get to hear a few. And so so definitely here to answer questions, and the staff are all here as well.
Awesome, thank you. Who's got a question?
We go through the pages. Where do you start?
Don't mind
I
saying
have
the
a
page
question
number?
the multiple reports, can you change the headers on them so we can discern? Because I was like, oh my God,
yeah.
I just read this. What's going on?
Great idea. I can.
Yeah, so then I can just go to the full one to put my comments on, so I'm not, otherwise I'm so we might be in different places. But I do have just a question on the communications position, and when we think we might be, do we know what we're doing there yet? And I'm anxious about getting someone in place before the summer hits us and the tourism season is in full blast.
Yeah, I think the bottleneck might be with me right now with the job description.
Okay.
They've done a gap analysis. They've looked at the position itself, and then now I'm back. I'm gonna quickly look at that, and they should be able to get that out pretty quick.
Okay, great. And my related question to that, because it occurs to me that the newsletter that I get very regularly in my inbox as a person, as a resident, not as a council member, is actually quite helpful. And I'm curious if and you probably don't know this off the top of your head, but how much pickup have we had on that? Like how many people get that? Do you know?
The newsletter.
So like latest news from Cumberland or whatever, it comes in your inbox, and it's just I think it's the link to the
It's an
news
automated
on the website.
digest.
Yes, right from the website.
Yeah, but you have
I
to
don't-
sign up to the whatever to get it.
I'll have to find
Anybody?
out stats on that.
No, the other one, the one that comes in that's related to the website.
Yeah, I'll have to find out the stats on
Yeah,
that.
if you
I'm
can
not
put
sure.
that in the reader, and then we can kind of track whether that's picking up or not.
Yeah.
Whether that's I just think it's a good tool.
Is there any more intel on like the Building Canada stuff or any more housing grant stuff?
They're both with UBCM, so I did do some digging. And one of them, they're both the same grant, but different streams. And I think we might hear shortly about one of them, or they're supposed to be making decisions, and the other one is backed up because there were so many applications. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that was my question there. Anything on 3445 funding, so that covers that, doesn't it? Just below our established application process to Housing Reserve Fund. Can we would it be appropriate just to put that on hold?
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
It shows us behind, and it says we're going to do it in 2026, and
a
it
new
just
category.
oh no, you've got on hold haven't you got on hold as a category anyway?
You're talking about establish the application process, that
To
one?
Housing Reserve Fund,
Yeah.
and yes.
So instead of, so what you're saying is maybe you guys could just direct staff to defer that to the next term
I think
or
it's
something.
scheduled for 2027, isn't it?
No, it says this year.
Yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's not, I actually had a similar thought about something else in here. Like either let's give new direction or let's say it's not a priority anymore.
Mhm.
We need another color or something on this fantastic tool that you have here that you all love so much.
But I definitely suggest deferring it to the next strategic planning and allow the next council, because it's not something that
Maybe
should be on the
once
work
the-
plan here.
Yeah, and it might be good to know what the Housing Corporation is doing first. Yep.
So a new category, if I can figure it out, a new category, that's just a caveat, on hold,
Or deferred or something like that. Yeah.
deferred.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just to show that it's not really, like, we're just not gonna get to it or something,
Yeah.
and it's not, yeah, yep.
So it's not constantly showing up as behind.
Yeah, it reminds you that you're not going to get to it, and council is okay with that.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Yeah.
that you need to feel
Yeah.
as a staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I've noticed that on the comprehensive asset management, that establishing an asset management team has changed to On Track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting news. This means we're starting to put this team together now, and we'll be able to start working on the rest of these items.
That was the first thing we needed to do, and
Yes.
we've actually organized a meeting for that, and I think, yeah, so, and that's not really, that's just sometime in 2026 we were gonna do that, but the sooner we did it, the more we could do the other things that are behind
Yes.
because of that. And so, yeah, so I think that that's back on track, is what I'm considering it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Seeing movement there. Yeah.
I see that as previously and as we know, the council chambers and in fact also the gymnasium both were talking about delays partially due to insurance adjustment and other pieces. Is that adjustment under the purview of MIA? Is there something we need to be communicating? Is there anything we can, at a more strategic, not just for case by case, but like, really, how long does it take to our insurers?
If you've ever had an insurance claim, it takes a really long time.
Recently experienced one.
Yes, but we own the insurer in this case. So we actually have
Yeah.
we are a shareholder in the insurer, which is a slightly different situation, and they tend to be, well, they seem to have been set up to be responsive to municipalities.
I'd have to update you separately at a different, like, I'm not 100% sure about the gym, what's going on with that one. I think there was some complications with that one. What I will say is we did have some complications with the council chamber where the adjuster that was working on that suddenly was retired or something, I'm not sure. And so we were given a new adjuster, and so, you know, we had to develop that relationship all over again. But we weren't given a new employee adjuster. We were given an adjuster that's had their workload added to. So yes, I can definitely express to MIA, but it was, you know, that one's just a complication that at this point in the short term we won't be able to do much about. But we did have some movement a little bit on that. We had the adjuster in the area come for the fire hall flood, and so then we were able to have that person come and have a look at the council chambers, and they're gonna support us a little bit, even though it's not their
Not their file.
so, yeah, we had a little bit of movement, and I think that that one will just take some relationship building again, right, with the new person. But I will reach out to MIA maybe and let them know that that's a struggle.
Yeah.
Just while we're on that same page there, I see that works for the Nikkei Park landscape installation are moving towards tender. Are we getting closer to an idea of whether the amount for the tender is near the forfeited deposit?
We won't probably know that until we receive bids. Our package right now with the landscape architect is not to produce estimates on the works in advance. It's just assumed that we will have budget unless it's full otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what would happen is we would either choose to reduce the scope if we thought that was appropriate, or I guess we would have to discuss with development services whether they're going to go back to the developer and give them a forfeiture a few years ago.
Okay. Yep.
Or based on, sorry.
Yeah.
Based on estimated value of the years.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one. So I know there was, and I know Ryan's left, so it's okay if nobody can answer this, but I know we got some communication last year about rec hours in the summer, like weekends or something. And was there some conversation about that? Is that a strategic planning conversation, or what is there?
It is included in the budget beginning in 2027.
Okay, great. Thank you. So on the, what page am I on? 157. The community forest management plan, or whatever we're calling it, whatever it is. How will that, like, is the public involved in that, and what's the outreach, and when are we looking at doing that, given the complication with the flood area and all of that stuff?
Kevin, can I ask you actually second from home, like,
That's right.
Oh, the mic. Yes.
There is a press release going out this week, and we'll be launching an Engage Comox Valley page. So that will have all the information. The public engagement piece of that project is going to come near the end in review of the strategy as drafted.
Okay.
And there will be an in-house open house in-person opportunity, as well as probably some sort of online commenting. The reason why we structured that was just there's so much input coming in through the 4 partners that are involved in the development of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that information is going out this week. Then we have added an additional workshop to that process in light of some of the previous workshops being used for more immediate flood response discussions and engagement.
Right. Okay, so like in the fall?
I think we have, late fall or
Okay.
winter would be when we can expect. There's nothing, no specific engagement content going out right now.
Yeah.
We haven't drafted those materials yet.
Yeah. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure the timing was not, was good. And you're on it. Thanks.
This may or may not be Kevin, so you might want to stay there, and then you can say it's not you. It's in relationship to the schools in our community, and I understand that the school district is going to a 10-year facilities management plan, and as part of that, they said they are consulting with the public and partners. Is the village considered a partner for the school's facilities, and has there been consultation?
I think Courtney's going to come up because we just had some news on that one.
We reached out to the school district recently to ask if we were on the partners engagement list, and the school district is going to confirm that.
Okay, here we go. We reached out to the school district recently to find out if the village was on the partners list that will be engaged with, or should we just fill out the survey? And it'll be both. So their contractors, consultants are doing the plan, and they'll make sure that the village is on the list of partners.
Can we expect that as a delegation, or is that
Or
going to
just
happen
staff,
staff to
yeah.
staff?
At this point, I think it's staff to staff, but I'll make sure to update council.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead if you got one. I'm just
Nope, I'm-
looking for notes.
I think I mostly talked about what I wanted to on the colored charts.
I have one more on page 168 about the Japanese cemetery and the fence. Do we expect that to be done by in time for Oban?
Yeah, we issued the request for quotes last week, and it's subject to contractor availability. We are hoping that it could be done by the end of July, but we'll be issuing an addendum this week if contractors cannot complete it before then, to make them aware of the need to accommodate those special events in early August, and then a final completion date would need to be in September.
Okay, and
Yeah.
maybe they could start on the front and work their way around the
Yeah,
invisible part or
we'll have
something.
those discussions once we get some
Yeah.
clarity on what their timelines and construction plans are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thank you. I think that's all I got. Oh.
And then there's also the other stat reports if you have any questions on
Yeah.
those.
Just making sure I don't have any more on the colored charts. Scrolling. I just wanted to, so I know we delegated changing the water, what's it called? What's it called?
What do we?
Where you go to stage 1 and stage
the
2 and stage 3.
water
Conservation,
stages,
thank
yeah,
you.
Restrictions.
God, I'm so tired. And so given the presentation the Mayors and Chairs group had last week or the week before around the extensive lack of snowpack and predicted drought, I wonder if we should be moving to stage 2 right away, and whether there's an interim step before we shut down, because I understand that having the water park is also a cooling thing, and so we want to have that available, but maybe there's some intermediary where we go partway to stage 3 but allow the cooling bits I don't know how we would manage that, whether we need a policy or whether we can just tell staff to sort that out given the
We have
situation.
a bylaw, right? So,
yeah.
So you're wondering, and I'm trying to remind myself of all the different types
stages.
of things at each stage, but we at the staff level have also been talking about
Yeah.
moving to stage 2 sooner rather than later. Of course, May 1 is
Yeah.
stage 1 as well automatically.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. I think it's coming. And then what you're saying is, so stage 3 might be a little bit too much, is what you're wondering. But you don't want to actually stay at stage 2 just because of that.
Yeah, because stage 2 is not that much different than stage 1, as I remember, and
Yeah.
I obviously don't have it in front of me. And stage 3 is like extreme.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find some medium place in there, and I don't know what that looks like, but
So
staff probably do.
what I could do though is take it back to the directors, discuss, because just because we're not at stage 3, we can discuss the water
Yeah.
park and some different types of operational things that we can without having to go all the way to stage 3.
Yeah,
can we
different
do it?
hours or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it back.
Okay.
And
If
did-
council is okay with that?
Yeah.
Adjusted the hours before. The same way, but yeah.
Oh, maybe that's part of stage 2 or 3. Yeah, I don't know.
Does the bylaw allow the option of staff to, return to council and say you delegate our authority, but we want to do, for example, stage 3 with these 2 exceptions?
It doesn't allow that type of flexibility, so
Okay.
we will look at that,
Yeah.
Right.
definitely. I hear what you're saying, for sure. But I think we also can look at the operational side of a few things. So I think Kevin wants, yeah.
And we do reduce the hours as
Oh, okay.
as I guess the restrictions get tighter, we reduce the number of hours and the time of the day. So that is
Okay.
already a built-in operational practice.
Even in stage 2?
I'll have to look at
Yeah,
what actually
I
got
can't
written
remember
into
either.
the bylaw.
Yeah.
This practice previously wasn't in a bylaw and was kind of a pre-existing thing that we were reducing those based on water demand.
Yeah.
So I'll just have to review what exactly got adopted in the bylaw last
Okay.
year. But
Awesome.
I think it's consistent with those past practices.
And then
Great.
does that include the bike wash as well? As a
I
Bike
can't,
wash is
again, I
stage
can't
3.
remember whether that's written into the bylaw, but that is a past practice that we were closing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so on to financial report. Does anybody have anything? I just have a note about social procurement, which I appreciated the comment in there. And I think one of the things that BiSocial is doing through BCSPI is sessions for contractors. So we could share that with the people that generally bid on us, and so that we're raising that awareness, because I don't think people really, I think you're right, people don't really understand what it means, and they just don't do anything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, my next one's on fire. Not on fire, but like relative to fire.
Protective services.
Well, do I understand we had an event at on the lake shore in the last couple of days?
Are we all on fire? Nothing on financials?
Yeah, no, on the
Okay.
financials, I generally just look for numbers that are
Yeah,
like
wacky.
way out of whack, and
Yeah.
nothing struck me on this one, so.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, because our first quarter has been pretty, the fire department, we'd say boring, because it's been really no action at all, just routine fire stuff.
That's good.
Nothing serious, which is nice. But the last few weeks have become more serious. We've had 6 fires like in a community, like 2 or 3 in the community forest, little fires. Kids have been lighting them, and we did finally catch the kids and talk to them. It was a fire in Raven Park down on Alverston there. Never caught them, but put the fire out. It was just, again, a small fire.
Yeah.
And we've had 3 calls to Cole Beach. And one was pretty serious, the one I went to on Sunday. Was I couldn't believe how deep it burnt into the coal bed. But it was right near the creek. And of course I had a bucket with me and everything, but it took like, I had to fill my bucket like 15 times to really cool it down.
Wow.
And then across the lake, there's all kinds of fires going on back there. And you'll see stuff, I don't normally go on Facebook, but I did today, and said, it's not normal for Cumberland people to be doing this, so it's kind of strange. And I also picked up 15 beer cans along the beach at Cole Beach also, and on top of the fire. But the other side, we have part of that, and hydro property is not in our jurisdiction. It's not in our area. And then there's a park site there, that's not in our area. That's all wildfire stuff. So we don't have jurisdiction there, but we do ask them for permission to go there if they want us to go there for fires. Right now it's not fire season until May 1st, but there's, we're getting lots of reports of fires along the beach over there on the other side of the Puntledge. And but it's out of our area actually. But of course, if something was bad there, we wouldn't hesitate to go over there. Our boat, we've come up with some problems with our boat, which is just basically licensing and different things from Transport Canada we have to put on the boat. So we're working on that, and we should have it in the water by, I'm hoping, around May 9th. We have to take it to the welder and get some more lights put on and stuff like that for night cruising and some more licensing. Our license is good right now to go do fires, but it can't, there's other things we can't do.
Right.
But we're working on getting all that done. And yeah, I'm a bit concerned about all these little fires around the area. Normally we don't get that kind. Like, we've already had like 6 or 8. I'm not exactly sure the number, because Sidofound has done some and I've done some. But it's not good, because
No, there's already 2 wildfires on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, there's about
So
4.
fire season is here, whether the
Yeah,
province wants to
that's
recognize
right.
that or not.
But they don't, they don't ban fires at this moment.
Yeah.
But we do in our areas. There's no fires allowed in these areas, but people are having them. And I think the Raven Park fire was young people too, because as soon as I went over there, because I live right there, I walked out back and I said, hey, because I could see the smoke. Boom, they were gone. They were just like scattered. So I put it out and everything, but it was very small. But that's not the point. Like, and it was in actually a pretty good spot, but we don't want them having fires in those areas. And not sure what to do about it yet, but I put an article in Currently Cumberland, but we weren't having any problems then, 2 weeks ago, but we are having problems right now. So, we can get that word out that not allowed to have any fires, and it's especially in our forest areas, like right inside the forest areas, which is kind of scary. It's right above the gravel pit, the first gravel pit
Yeah.
on the hill there. So that has me concerned, but of course we get calls, we'll go check them out, and yeah, that's the biggest thing happening right now. The first quarter was very good. No problems. We got our Rescue 4 is in service now, so you'll see it bombing around town if there's any calls. And that's about all I got. If you got any questions.
Well, my question was about the boat, actually, because because your report says, yeah, we're going to get the boat out early May, and given that we saw a fire on the way home from Victoria, I was like, maybe we need to start getting the boat out earlier. So I give that to you for your consideration, given the number of fires on the beaches around the lake.
Yeah, the plan was to get the boat out earlier, but
Yeah.
we had some direction, and Transport Canada wants us to have these bow lights and 360 light for operating at night. And we need to have that because, like the last couple of years ago when we had that fire over at Cold Beach, if we couldn't go over there at night, that place would have been gone.
Yeah.
And so I want to get that stuff installed. We only found out about this a week ago, so maybe 10 days ago. So we got a rush on it to get it in there.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
Good. Thanks, Mike.
I did want to just ask, it's unfortunate that we had the small flood at the fire hall. I'm sorry to hear about that. Were you able to ascertain any sort of root cause and actions you can take to prevent similar, is there something that might be common that we need to go looking for elsewhere in village properties to make sure we don't have similar problems?
So we've already done that, and there is other areas, and it's all been addressed through at the fire hall and the rec center and everything. That's all been looked after, as far as I know now, especially at the fire hall has. But talking about insurance, they've been doing a wonderful job there. They're there every day fixing the place, and I appreciate that. And
nice.
yeah,
Whatever it is you're doing with them, can you do it? Boy, but,
I was
okay.
sitting there thinking about that, and I think our insurance adjuster came there, and ever since then they've been working on it every day. They were there today again.
They like new buildings.
Sorry?
They like new buildings a lot better.
Maybe, yeah.
But thank you. That was my point. If there's lessons to be learned, are we learning them? And I think
Yeah,
I hear the answer.
we have a couple of those issues at the fire hall, or same sort of setups. So, but we've never set it up. Our operations hasn't been set up like the janitor system does. But that's going to be all corrected. So that shouldn't happen again, as far as I know.
Thanks for being here, Chief. Okay, I think that's all of it, 'cause the next one is policing, right? Oh, no, development services we didn't do, did we?
Haven't done that yet, no.
Any questions on that? I don't think I
I-
had any questions on that one.
I just had one, well, maybe two. I'm just wondering, has there been progress on Lot A Alverston? Are those, I think we're at a point where we're trying to put covenants on to move the bylaw forward?
Yes, that's correct. So there's quite a lot of action behind the scenes. That's on versions of covenants back and forth, and that all has to happen before it comes back to council.
Yes, okay,
So,
so
yeah,
that's
that's
what I
quite
just.
active.
It's quite active,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
And then in a similar vein, I see that, where is it? Kendall has fallen like way down the list here. Is there any activity going on with any of that right now, or?
We're
Coal
working.
Valley, you mean?
Or
The
Coal-
next-
Coal Valley,
That's
yes,
right. We do
sorry.
have it listed as Kendall Avenue at
yeah,
the
it's
address.
listed as Kendall
column.
Avenue,
You're correct. That is Coal Valley Estates.
Yeah.
We are getting close to having all the information we need to bring the development permit application to council.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, those were my two main questions, just where those files, if they were progressing or how things were going.
Yep. Thank you, Councillor Turian. I asked two of mine, so that's good, they're off the list. I did have one on just on Beck Avenue when we heard from we heard about the next phase. In fact, I think I was gratified to see the guidelines for landscaping and vegetation. And I'd just like to ask whether there's any view on how well the phase one has, now that that's well established, has that been landscaped to that sort of level and the satisfaction of everybody concerned?
Yes, that's a good question. Now, for that phase, that landscape directive, what it's labeled, was not a requirement of the village. So it was distributed by the developer to those who had purchased the lot. So the short answer is I don't know, because we assessed their landscape plans based on our development permit area 1 and our industrial development permit. And this landscape directive would have a higher standard of use of native plants. So I don't expect a significant change because our guidelines were in close alignment, but I couldn't say exactly right now what the differences are.
No, that's fine. I was really just looking at, are you happy that phase one is landscaped in conformance with our requirements already, and that's been satisfactorily completed?
That's so for the properties who have built out. So we're talking about on the private properties.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that all for development services? Okay, next up is permits, licensing, and bylaw quarterly report. Oh, there you are. I wonder, so we had a few letters about the basketball hoops and other play apparatus, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to that if you wanted to share.
Sure.
We seem to have some very happy people with the interaction with bylaw, and then other people who were not necessarily directly involved quite upset.
Yeah.
So don't understand what happened there.
Well, so I guess, yeah, it started off like there were a number, like it was all directed by complaints. So there was some complaints, and the bylaw officer was following up with those complaints. They had to do with with parking and then how the basketball hoops constrained parking and then would cause, people or would constrain parking so that, people would park where like a resident wasn't, didn't want to encourage parking sort of thing. That was sort of the root of it. And then as sometimes happens, and we sort of get used to sensing this sort of thing as you work longer in bylaw. When you start to talk to people, that they're often their first, I think it's the lights on. Often their first reaction is to say, "But what about that person?" And then it just kind of, I think it just kind of went from there. I wasn't around during that week. I trust the bylaw officer's instincts. They do a great job. But that decision to go to letters and was a decision made out of the interest of being efficient, so that if they were just knocking and weren't able to speak to somebody during their hours, that the message would still get relayed. So I heard afterwards, and I saw some of the same correspondence that was taken, not well, and that's unfortunate. I also got the feedback that, and have relayed this to the bylaw officer, that when you get a sense that something like that is becoming a wider sort of issue, that taking a step back and like using communications, our communications platforms to talk about it is a good way to sort of broach the subject. It is a challenge. Like that is a challenging issue. Like there are legitimate complaints that people have about like parking constraints and stuff, where you can see like, okay, that does make sense. Like, if something is left on the street all the time, why couldn't it be moved so that it can be used as parking sometimes? Like that's a good point. And then also the garbage collection companies, they're worried about hitting them. But then there's the opposite side of encouraging people to get outside and enjoy public spaces for other things like recreation and stuff. So I think that there was an effort made there to kind of strike a balance between those two objectives, and maybe we didn't quite hit it.
Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it, and I can see how that would have been triggering for people. And it just encouraged people to talk to each other about stuff like that.
To talk to each other, or to talk to us. I mean,
or just
sometimes
move the basketball hoop if it's in your way.
Yeah.
If you can. Yeah. Other questions, council?
I guess I see your report on service calls, which is really useful to see that. On what sort of balance between like non-service activity, either patrol or just proactive or any sort of way, because I think all you're reporting here is how many times a complaint was received and you responded, but I know there's quite a bit of other activity goes on. What's the nature of that predominantly, and what's the balance?
So I've been thinking about a way to, and like the bylaw officer and I have been talking about a way to try and quantify that. So in other places, I just don't want to make it too onerous to be able to quantify it, because they're quite busy with both the reactive like calls for service, and then once it's sort of once we get a similar issue happening in a similar area, then the bylaw officer will start heading to that area and talking to people proactively. So I would just be guessing if I tried to estimate, but that is something I can that we're thinking about, but I can work towards if that's something you'd like to see, that balance between like reactive and proactive.
I don't want to place onerous reporting at all. I just would like, from time to time, to sort of understand the nature of proactive work. Either is it communication, education? Is it actually steps towards enforcement? What is happening out there when you or your team are around and observe an infraction that you think is more than just I'll let that one go on complaint. Anyway, that was what I was getting at. But I don't want to create extra reporting if it's not helpful.
Well, it can be like especially if there's a specific sort of incident or like issue that we're trying to, then it's called like recording contacts. So we would sort of dedicate a number of hours towards something in a week, and then focus that on like in other places we would do it where we would be focusing on parks, and then focusing on say open alcohol in parks, or smoking, or things like that, things that sort of made it made the parks less accessible to everyone, and or less comfortable for families, things like that. So we would then send bylaw officers there, and then they would record how many people they spoke to on those subjects. And we would just kind of get, with getting those numbers, you sort of get an idea of, where are things headed, and how effective are they? How many are the complaints going down, and are those contacts also going down? Is the message getting out there? Are the contacts going up, and sort of the complaints?
Yeah, I wonder if it's just as simple. These are the number of complaint. Like the chart that you've got is great. It gives us the complaints by category, and then a number of that's the actual enforcement. So when it shifts from education and conversation to actual enforcement, so we can get a sense of how much actual enforcement is going on, and how much we're working with people to get them to.
Okay, I can do that, but also just for here, I mean, so the way we think about bylaw is kind of everything leading up to the point of a ticket is education. So that is where we focus 99% of our time is in that realm, is working with people before we have to write a ticket, and setting timelines, working with them, keep coming back, keep the conversation going, celebrating the small wins, and really it can take some time, but that's where we focus. That's where we focus most of our time. The vast majority of our time is in what we would consider education.
Awesome. That's what we're looking for.
Resolved without ticket is the sort of number I want to see as high as you can.
Yeah.
So that was what I was going to ask, is of these 97 total, how many of those did result in a ticket?
Probably less than 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty close to that 95% number there.
Yeah. The tickets that we have written, have mostly to do with dangerous dogs and things like that. Where there's a bit more of an urgent public safety issue at hand. Very, very little in other categories.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
Dogs and parking, always. Okay, thank you so much, Chris. So next is the list of action items, and I actually have a couple of questions. And I don't know who's on this.
I'm going to give it a shot. You ask, and then I'll figure out.
So the number is 24-197, and it's on the second page of this report. That council refer the correspondence from the Legion. I just remember them asking, they wanted, I think, permissive tax exemption or some other thing about the patio. And I wonder if that conversation is ongoing. It says in progress. I'm wondering if that's something.
I think that might be you, Kevin. If you have an update, it might have to wait if you need to. Says PR for Parks and Recreation.
I flagged that because it's not active. There hasn't been any
Okay, okay.
conversation, so that was something that I, wasn't sure on.
Okay. Great.
Now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was follow-up around opportunities to apply for our existing grant program, and that didn't came anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I suspected. Okay, thank you. And then the next one is right under that. It's the BC Hydro Public EV Fast Charging Program. Have we found a site? Is the program canceled or what?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. Just speaking with Joel, I believe it did get put on hold because the initial location is outside of Village Park, and then that started to look like it might not actually be a fit, and we have a Village Park master plan coming. So I believe that that the last update, I believe it's been put on hold. I believe by BC Hydro at this point, other than that Village Park master plan situation, because that wasn't quite working.
Oh, okay, that location.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I might ask for a weekly update on that one.
That would be great, because I'm just worried, given what's happening at the provincial level, that the program will be canceled and we'll miss the opportunity to get in there and get a fast charger in town, which should be, I think, helpful for people. And then there's, and Mike's gone, so maybe it's not worth asking, but if you could maybe pass along the, on the bottom of page 222 of the package, that council direct staff to provide a report on inventory needs planning for wildfire pumps and equipment. This is again from 2024. And then the following one is direct staff to provide a report on the scope of work and budget for EOC room completion and ceiling AC.
Okay,
We could
so
get
pass
a-
those on.
I assume it's in his
Yeah.
review. Yeah.
And I think the inventory for the wildfire pumps and equipment was in relation to a budget request for that, and that's when we. So I believe that probably just got missed. It didn't get asked for again this year, so I just missed it with my CFO hat when I was doing budget.
Well, or maybe their new truck is sufficient for the pumping fire.
Yeah, but I will say any kind of asset inventorying is going to come with that asset. We were
Right,
going to
okay.
do that as part of, for all assets. But
Yeah.
so this is going to get done, but just not in that way. And then the reporting one I will pass on. I'll
Okay.
follow up on that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? We're down
ahead,
to
if you've got
40 minutes
specific
for,
ones.
Yeah, I just had page 225, very top. Consider the request for the official village fungus and implications and return with
that's
any
right, I had
concern.
that flagged too.
Ooh, you guys are doing.
Just sorry.
Oh.
That was supposed to be a fairly swift.
Think
N-
that
not a big long report type thing.
Does Rachel want to? I think Rachel might have had a
here.
conversation
Oh,
with our
goodness, I was gonna
fungus
say,
gal,
Gosh, that's someone that's not even here. I didn't
our
realize she
fungus
was here.
advocate.
There hasn't been any action on that yet, but if it's a priority, we can move it up the task list.
I just had a conversation with our fungus proponent, I guess we would call her, and she was thinking she might just come back to you with a simplified request, which I encouraged. So
Okay. I
maybe
can
if
reach
you just
out.
prompt her,
Yep, I can do that.
it would be nice to have it in time for Fungus Fest, you know, however we do it, in whatever way. Anything else? It's the deep dive into the report today. We're keen for maybe ICC.
I was just, I didn't have any specific ones. I was just going to make a general comment that with this list, I mean, we're listing many of them that are complete from as far back as 2025, 2024. And maybe we can start to clean up the list and then flag items to bring back to us that have gone stale.
Yes, we do that.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did that recently.
Is that an on sort of going work plan that happens?
We do take away the completes after every quarter, and we were planning on bringing a report to you at the next quarterly in July to review those ones that have gone stale and can be moved off the list at your direction.
Okay, you're on top of it already. Thank you very much. Yep.
Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we can do question period. And there's no one here, and there's nothing online. So then we can move to closed then.
I'll recommend that Council close the meeting pursuant to Section 90-1 of the Community Charter to consider E, the acquisition, disposition or expropriation of land or improvements if the Council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality, and L, discussions with the municipal officers and employees respecting municipal objectives, measures and progress reports for the purposes of preparing an annual report under Section 98.
Seconder?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of that? And we are closed.
I'm gonna have to, I gotta run, and